Hello, and welcome to the Maine State Inspection Manual, read by Nate Berry. Today we're going to be looking at Section 170. Feel free to follow along with the video or download the PDF in the description below. Let's begin. Department of Public Safety, Bureau of State Police, Section 170, Classes A and E Motor Vehicle Inspection Standards. Summary. This section describes the inspection procedures, standards, and parts of the vehicle that must be inspected for Class A and E vehicles. This section also establishes the standards for rejecting the vehicles in inspection. All vehicles inspected in the state of Maine must have met all applicable federal motor vehicle safety standards, Environmental Protection Agency pollutant requirements, and National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration crash testing requirements at the time of manufacture, unless otherwise authorized by law. Definition. For the purposes of this section, the term reject vehicle means to fail to approve a vehicle for inspection or refuse to issue an inspection sticker. Definition. For the purposes of this section, the term reject vehicle means to fail to approve a vehicle for inspection or refuse to issue an inspection sticker. Class A Motor Vehicle Inspection. 1. Brakes. A. Procedure and Standard. 1. Hydraulic brake system. Depress the brake pedal using moderate foot force. There should be a minimum of approximately 1/3 of the available travel remaining. Moderate force is defined as 40 to 60 pounds in a non-power system and 15 to 20 pounds in a power assist system. Check power assist system with the engine running. A. Reject vehicle if less than 1/3 of the total available pedal travel remains when the pedal is depressed under moderate foot pressure. B. Reject vehicle if pad is missing from the brake pedal. 2. Service brake and transmission test. Test the vehicle by driving it into the service area. Observe whether the vehicle comes to a smooth stop without pulling to the left or to the right. Test the vehicle's transmission, forward and reverse gears, as well as park position in automatic transmissions to ensure proper working order. A. Reject vehicle if it does not stop smoothly or if it pulls to the left or right. B. Reject vehicle if not equipped with brakes on all axles. C. Reject vehicle if the forward or reverse gears are inoperative. D. Reject vehicle if the park position is inoperative. E. Reject vehicle if any brake malfunction light indicates a malfunction with any equipment required to be inspected. F. Reject vehicle if any malfunction indicator light for any equipment required to be inspected fails to illuminate properly. The lights should illuminate when the ignition key is in the on position with the engine not running. 3. Anti-lock braking systems. If the vehicle is equipped with an ABS braking system, visually and manually inspect the warning light. A. Reject vehicle if the warning light fails to illuminate during the cycle or self-check, or if the light remains on, or a self-diagnostic error is indicated. B. Reject vehicle if the ABS braking system is disconnected, disabled, or removed. 4. Parking brake performance. Set the parking brake firmly to determine the reserve travel of the hand, lever, or foot pedal. If the vehicle is equipped with the band-type parking brake, inspect the propeller shaft or drive shaft for the presence of oil or grease. The condition of the lining and tightness. A. Reject vehicle if the parking brake does not hold the vehicle upon testing. B. Reject vehicle if the method of applying the parking and service brakes are connected and are constructed so that failure of one part leaves the vehicle without operative brakes. C. Reject vehicle if there is no reserve travel in the lever or pedal unless designed with no reserve by the manufacturer. D. Reject vehicle if there is oil or grease on the drum or lining. E. Reject vehicle if lining is worn through the steel band. F. Reject vehicle if parking brake fails to properly disengage. B. Inspection of braking mechanisms. 1. Brake linings and disc brake pads. If in the judgment of the inspection technician it is necessary, and with the customer's consent, the technician may remove at least one front wheel and one rear wheel and drum to further examine the brakes. A. Reject vehicle if, on a bonded lining, the thinnest point is less than 2/32 of an inch. Reject vehicle if, on a wire-backed lining, the wire backing is visible on the friction surface. C. Reject vehicle if, on a riveted lining, the lining is worn to within 2/32 of any rivet head. D. Reject vehicle if, on a riveted lining, any rivets are loose or missing. E. Reject vehicle if the lining is broken or not firmly and completely attached to the shoe. F. Reject vehicle if the lining is cracked to a depth in excess of 50% of the lining's thickness. G. Reject vehicle if the lining friction surface is contaminated with oil, brake fluid, or grease. H. Reject vehicle if the lining wear is extraordinarily uneven. 2. Brake drums and brake discs. A. Reject vehicle if there are substantial cracks on the friction surface extending to the open edge. B. Reject vehicle if there are external cracks. C. Reject vehicle if there is evidence of mechanical damage other than wear. D. Reject vehicle if the friction surface is contaminated with oil, grease, brake fluid, or appears excessively rusted so that the integrity of the drum or disc is compromised or the braking efficiency is compromised. E. Reject vehicle if the inside diameter is greater than the maximum diameter stamped on the drum or the manufacturer's discard limit. F. Reject vehicle if the thickness of the disc is less than the minimum thickness stamped on the disc, or less than the manufacturer's discard limit. C. Visual inspection of the hydraulic system. 1. Reject vehicle if the master cylinder leaks. 2. Reject vehicle if master cylinder has pressure fade. 3. Reject vehicle if the master cylinder is less than half full or below the manufacturer's specifications. 4. Reject vehicle if the gasket is torn or missing. 5. Reject vehicle if the wheel cylinders leak. 6. Reject vehicle if the hoses or tubings leak or are cracked, chafed, flattened, restricted, or are insecurely fastened. 7. Reject vehicle if the brake tubing is rusted to a point of flaking, is bulging, pitting, or has welded sections. Surface rust is not a cause for rejection. 8. Reject vehicle if any replacement hydraulic brake lines are made with material other than automotive-rated tubing that meets SAE standards, or if the safety tubing is not joined with an SAE-approved hydraulic brake line fitting to ensure a leak-proof joint. Currently, there are no SAE-approved compression fittings for hydraulic brake lines. D. Visual inspection for hydraulic brakes. This includes power-assisted over-hydraulic and engine-drive hydraulic booster systems. 1. Reject vehicle if, while the engine is running, there is no pedal reserve except by pumping the pedal. 2. Reject vehicle if the power assist unit fails to operate. 3. Reject vehicle if any brake hose seeps or swells under application of pressure. 4. Reject vehicle if the check valve is missing or inoperative. 5. Reject vehicle if there is any visually observed leaking hydraulic fluid in the brake system. 6. Reject vehicle if any hydraulic hose is abraded, chafed, through the outer cover to fabric layer. 7. Reject vehicle if any fluid line or connections, including crimped connections, are leaking, restricted, crimped, cracked, broken, or rusted to the degree that failure is probable. 8. Reject vehicle if the hydraulic pump drive belt is loose, cracked, slipping, or missing. E. Visual inspection for power braked vehicles. 1. Reject vehicle if any hoses or tubes are leaking or collapsed, broken, excessively rusted, badly chafed, improperly supported, or loose because of broken clamps. 2. Reject a vehicle if there is insufficient vacuum reserve to permit one full brake application after the engine is shut off. 3. Reject a vehicle if any vacuum hose or line is restricted, abraded, or chafed through the outer cover to the cord ply, crimped, cracked, broken, or if any vacuum hoses collapse when vacuum is applied. F. Visual inspection of the mechanical linkage. 1. Reject vehicle if any pins are worn or missing, or if there are defective cotter pins. 2. Reject vehicle if there is any weak, broken, or missing springs, or worn cables, clevises, coupling rods, or anchor pins. 3. Reject vehicle if there are any frozen, rusted, or inoperative connections. 4. Reject vehicle if the pedal shaft or any bearings are worn from high friction or are misaligned. 5. Reject vehicle if the shoe movement is restricted at the backing plate or if there is binding between the brake shoes or pads and the anchor pins. 6. Reject vehicle if any mechanical parts are missing, broken, or badly worn. 7. Reject vehicle if there is high friction in pedal and linkage or in brake components. 8. Reject vehicle if any brake operating levers are improperly positioned or misaligned. 9. Reject vehicle if the brake pads are binding on the caliper brackets or if the brake slides are frozen. 2. Body components. A. Vehicle exterior. 1. Reject vehicle if body exterior components or sheet metal parts are rusted or damaged to an extent that the rust or damage presents a safety hazard to occupants, pedestrians, cyclists, or other vehicles. 2. Reject vehicle if exterior sheet metal directly surrounding and leading to the trunk and passenger compartment has holes caused by damage or rust. Surface rust is not a cause for rejection. 3. Reject vehicle if any required body exterior components, including the hood, fenders, quarter panels, doors, and side panels, are loose, missing, or not securely attached to the body as a result of damage, modification, or rust. 4. Reject vehicle if any door is missing, unless originally manufactured with removable doors, has inoperable latches, broken or missing parts, or otherwise fails to function properly. Rear door latches can be disabled on a police cruiser. A vehicle may have the door handles removed and the sheet metal and door opening mechanism of the vehicle modified to create a smooth appearance. There must, however, be a mechanical method of opening any door from inside the vehicle. 5. Reject vehicle if any inner rocker panel, body mounts, or floor pan has any holes as to permit the passage of fumes or gases into the trunk or passenger compartments. 6. Reject vehicle if any replacement repairs on the motor vehicle are not made with materials of the same strength as the original, or that allow passage of fumes or gases into the trunk or passenger compartments. 7. Reject vehicle if on a vehicle with unit construction the body, including rocker panels, have rust holes or is rusted or modified to the extent that there is danger of a vital part failure. 8. Reject vehicle if the chassis frame is broken or rusted to such a degree that structural weakness is possible. Repairs should meet ICAR or equivalent standard. 9. Reject vehicle if the trunk compartment is not properly sealed and secured so as to prevent suction of exhaust fumes or gases into the trunk. 10. Reject vehicle if the hood latch mechanism fails to operate properly unless it is otherwise secured so it will not open accidentally. B. Fenders and bumper protection systems. 1. Reject vehicle if on a vehicle originally equipped with bumpers, any bumpers are missing or are not securely attached. 2. Reject vehicle if any modification to or replacement of the vehicle's originally equipped bumper protection system is not of the same apparent strength or results in less protection. A bumper protection system may consist of structural and or cosmetic components, sheet metal or other material, designed to limit damage in a frontal or rear impact. 3. Reject vehicle if the front or rear fenders have been removed. 4. Reject vehicle if the fender does not cover the tire tread. 3. Fuel tanks and delivery system. A. Reject vehicle if the fuel tank is not properly or securely attached to the vehicle body or chassis. B. Reject vehicle if the fuel cap is missing or broken. C. Reject vehicle if any fuel evaporation hose is broken or not connected. D. Reject vehicle if the fuel tank was not of a type originally manufactured for motor vehicles. Aftermarket auxiliary fuel tanks and fuel cells are acceptable as long as they meet all other requirements of this section and any applicable federal or state law. E. Reject vehicle if there is any fuel or gas leak anywhere in the fuel delivery system. F. Reject vehicle if the fuel line is rusted to the point of flaking, bulging, or pitting, and failure is imminent. G. Reject vehicle if the fuel tank or fuel tank filler vent or drain openings are not located outside the passenger or trunk areas. H. Reject vehicle if any replacement fuel lines are made with material other than automotive-rated tubing or braided hose for fuel line use. Note: fuel and evaporative lines may be repaired with SAE-approved compression fittings. 4. Seats and passenger restraint systems. A. Reject vehicle if any seat is not properly and securely attached to the floor. B. Reject vehicle if any seat adjusting mechanism slips out of the set position or fails to function properly. C. Reject vehicle if any replacement seat was not originally designed for motor vehicles. D. Reject vehicle if seat belts are not installed on 1966 and subsequent models, and retractable seat belts are not installed and functioning in 1980 and subsequent models. E. Reject vehicle if any seat belts are not completely functional or if they have cuts or excessive fraying. F. Reject vehicle if, with the engine running, any diagnostic light or malfunction code indicates that an airbag is not functioning properly. G. Reject vehicle if any airbag diagnostic light fails to illuminate during the self-check. H. Reject vehicle if any deployed airbag has not been properly replaced with a functioning airbag system. I. Reject vehicle if any airbag has been disconnected or a non-factory disconnect switch has been installed, unless the vehicle owner has a letter of authorization from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Law enforcement and mail carrier vehicles are exempt from this paragraph if, in the opinion of the inspection technician, the alteration was necessary. J. Reject vehicle if any seat headrest that was initially equipped by the manufacturer is missing or damaged. 5. Other vehicle components. A. Reject vehicle if automotive batteries are installed in the passenger compartment other than those originally installed by the manufacturer. B. Reject vehicle if the battery is not secured by a hold down. C. Reject vehicle if the battery tray is rusted to the point where it no longer securely supports the battery. D. Reject vehicle if automotive batteries originally installed by the manufacturer in the passenger compartment are not secured and equipped with a protective covering to prevent injury to or contact with any person. E. Reject vehicle if it leaks petroleum fluids in an amount or in such a location as to constitute a fire hazard. F. Reject vehicle if it is registered for over 6,000 pounds and does not have splash guards. This does not apply to those vehicles exempt pursuant to applicable Maine law. Reject vehicle if it is a truck with a dump body and does not have a positive means of support permanently attached and being capable of being locked in a position to prevent the unintentional lowering of the dump body. H. Registration plates. 1. Reject vehicle if it does not have a registration plate attached to the front and the rear that are clearly visible and legible. Exemption. Only one dealer registration plate, transit registration plate, or temporary registration plate is required to be displayed on applicable vehicles. Vehicles registered in another state may require only one registration plate. 2. Reject vehicle if all registration plates are not displayed horizontally. 3. A vehicle that is missing a registration plate because an original was lost, mutilated, or illegible may be inspected if it has a temporary registration plate bearing the registration number that is displayed as nearly as possible in the position occupied by the original plate, and if the owner has a receipt from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles showing that a replacement registration plate has been ordered. 6. Exhaust system. A. Exhaust system examination. 1. The exhaust system includes the exhaust manifolds, head pipes, catalytic converters, intermediate pipes, mufflers, and tailpipes. 2. The exhaust system shall be examined by listening for exhaust leaks and shall be examined visually after either the vehicle has been lifted on a hoist or has been jacked up sufficiently to allow a proper examination or is over a pit. Rusted or corroded areas must be examined carefully. B. Rejection standards. 1. Reject vehicle if there is any loose or leaking joints or seams in the exhaust system. 2. Reject vehicle if there are any holes in the exhaust system other than small holes obviously made by the manufacturer to provide drainage. 3. Reject vehicle if there are any loose interior baffles. 4. Reject vehicle if the exhaust system has been inadequately repaired. 5. Reject vehicle if any exhaust system elements are not fastened securely by use of hangers or clamps. 6. Reject vehicle if any part of the exhaust system passes through the passenger compartment. 7. Reject vehicle if the exhaust system does not discharge completely to the side or rear of the enclosed passenger portion of the body of the vehicle. 8. Reject vehicle if it is not equipped with a muffler or mufflers that are effective at reducing noise. No muffler may be altered to amplify noise, and all mufflers must prevent excessive or unusual noise. 9. Reject vehicle if it was manufactured after the 1982 model year and it is not equipped with a catalytic converter, unless the vehicle was not originally equipped with a catalytic converter. Note: if the vehicle was originally equipped with a catalytic converter, it must have one to pass inspection, even if the vehicle was manufactured in 1982 or prior years. 10. Reject vehicle if the tailpipe extends more than 2 inches beyond the rearmost point of the vehicle or bumper, unless originally so equipped by the manufacturer. Note: Maine standards for new aftermarket catalytic converters, AMCC, began June 1st, 2018. See supplemental info. 7. Vehicle glazing. 1. General inspection. 1. Inspect all glazing on the vehicle to ensure that all glazing is marked by a manufacturer's trademark and the words American Standard or the letters AS followed by a number indicating the position in the vehicle where that glass may be used. AS1 glass may be used in the windshield. AS1 or AS2 glass may be used in the side or rear windows. 2. Reject the vehicle if it is not equipped with approved safety glass, wherever glass is used in doors, windows, and windshields. If the vehicle was manufactured after December 31st, 1937. 3. Reject vehicle if cloudiness extends more than 1 inch from the top or sides or more than 4 inches from the bottom edge of the windshield and, in the opinion of the inspecting technician, obstructs the driver's clear view of the road. 4. Reject vehicle if cloudiness on a divided windshield extends more than 1 inch on either side of the divider strip, and in the opinion of the inspecting technician obstructs the driver's clear view of the road. 5. Reject vehicle if in the critical vision area of the windshield there are any unrepaired bullseye fractures, star fractures, stone bruises, cracks, or chips that measure more than 1 inch at the extreme edges, and, in the opinion of the inspecting technician, obstructs the driver's clear view of the road. 6. Reject vehicle if there is any crack more than 6 inches long within the critical vision area of the windshield. 7. Reject vehicle if there is a windshield wiper scratch, mar, or marks more than 4 inches long and 1/4 inch wide on the windshield, and in the opinion of the inspecting technician, obstructs the driver's clear view of the road. 8. Reject vehicle if it was originally equipped with a windshield wiper by the manufacturer and it does not have a windshield. 9. Reject vehicle if either the left or right front window mechanism is not in working order. 10. Reject vehicle if any glass is broken or shattered so as to obstruct the vision of the operator or endanger the occupants of the vehicle. B. Glazing repairs. 1. Reject vehicle if repairs made to a windshield impair the vision in the critical vision area. 2. Reject vehicle if repairs to the windshield are not refracting light in the same manner as the windshield, or are not free of cosmetic blemishes that extend more than 1 inch, and, in the opinion of the inspecting technician, obstructs the driver's clear view of the road. Note: cosmetic blemishes are visible dirt, visible air bubbles that appear as silver or black spots, visible cracks with a discernible thickness and that appear as black or silver lines, or cloudiness of the laminate. C. Window tinting, treatments, or coverings. 1. Reject vehicle if there are any items other than items allowed by statute hanging on or in the windshield, front side windows, or rear window that obstruct the driver's clear view of the road. 2. Reject vehicle if any window is composed of, or covered with, or treated with any reflective material. 3. Reject vehicle if the windshield has any tint that is not part of a factory-installed original equipment windshield, installed in accordance with FMVSS, Section 205. A tinted sunshield strip that extends no more than 5 inches from the top of the windshield is permissible. 4. If the vehicle has tinted windows and the owner of the vehicle cannot provide the inspection technician with a certificate of compliance approved by the Bureau of the Maine State Police that states that a vehicle meets the standards set forth by Maine law, Title 29-A, Section 1916, copied in the back of this manual under supplemental info, in this chapter for light transmittance. A. Any window tinting treatment or covering must be removed if it fails to meet the inspection standard. B. Vehicles equipped with tinted glass on the rear and side windows are exempt from this requirement. 8. Other vehicle equipment. A. Windshield wipers. 1. Reject vehicle if it is not equipped with an adequate wiper or wipers. 2. Reject vehicle if any windshield wiper does not operate freely or at a reasonable speed. 3. Reject vehicle if any wiper blade is worn or if the metal part of the wiper makes contact with the windshield. 4. Reject vehicle if the driver cannot reach and freely operate a hand wiper if the vehicle is not equipped with automatic wipers. 5. Reject vehicle if the windshield washer system fails to function as designed. B. Rear view mirrors. 1. Reject vehicle if it does not have all the original factory installed rear view mirrors or their equivalent replacement. A vehicle with a dump body or similar obstruction, like an ambulance, cube van, etc., is not required to have an inside rear view mirror. 2. Reject vehicle if any mirror is not mounted securely to prevent its swinging or excessive vibration. 3. Reject vehicle if any mirror does not give the driver a view of the road 200 feet to the rear. 4. Reject vehicle if the reflecting surface is peeled, tarnished, or broken and, in the opinion of the inspecting technician, obstructs the driver's clear view in the mirror. 5. Reject vehicle if any mirror cannot be adjusted or will not maintain a set adjustment. C. Sun visor. 1. Reject vehicle if the sun visor cannot maintain a fixed position, if vehicle is equipped with a sun visor. D. Horn. 1. Reject vehicle if it is not equipped with a horn properly wired to a functioning actuating device. 2. Reject vehicle if the horn actuating device is not easily accessible to the driver. 3. Reject vehicle if the horn is not securely fastened to the vehicle. 4. Reject vehicle if the horn does not emit a loud, audible sound upon actuation. 9. Lights and electrical. A. General lamp inspection. General lamp inspection includes inspection of reflex reflectors and of the following types of lamps: head, tail, stop, license, clearance, signal, marker, side marker, and fog/driving lights. Any required original equipment light or its equivalent replacement must be present and functioning. Any aftermarket lamps, including headlamps, must be DOT approved for highway use. Any auxiliary lights not prohibited by law or regulation that are added to the vehicle or installed as optional equipment by the manufacturer are not required to function. Example: fog lights, lights on an off-road roll bar, etc. 1. Reject vehicle if any bulb in any lamp required by law or regulation fails to function properly. 2. Reject vehicle if any lens is missing or broken, unless properly repaired. 3. Reject vehicle if any headlamp has obvious discoloration, contamination, or reflector deterioration that reduces the lighting below safe operating levels. 4. Reject vehicle if any lamp is not securely fastened to the vehicle. 5. Reject vehicle if any lamp shows a beam of color, is installed, or functioned in a manner contrary to law. 6. Reject vehicle if any lens or lamp required by law or regulation is covered by any device or material that reduces the amount of light transmitted or reduces the area of illumination of a lens or lamp by any amount. This includes, but is not limited to, devices such as tinted films, baskets, louvers, and mesh covers that reduce the amount of light transmittance. 7. Reject vehicle if the beam indicator lamps do not indicate the correct beam to the driver. Both high and low beams must be working properly. 8. Reject vehicle if any lamp or lens is turned or inclined so that its light is not properly directed. 9. Reject vehicle if any lens or reflex reflector is missing or broken unless it has been properly repaired. 10. Reject vehicle if a headlamp measured from its center is located less than 22 inches or more than 54 inches above the level surface on which the vehicle stands. This restriction does not apply to vehicles equipped with a snowplow. 11. Reject vehicle if the backup lights fail to function when the vehicle is placed in reverse gear. 12. Reject vehicle if the backup lights remain on when the vehicle is in any gear other than reverse. 13. Reject vehicle if it is equipped with LED lighting and 50% or more of the LEDs are not functioning. Note: properly repaired means that the repair is made with a clear material or a material that is the same color of the lens and prevents moisture from entering the inside of the lens and that maintains the integrity of the unit. Tape is not considered an acceptable repair material. B. Headlight aiming. 1. Check for proper headlight aim. Technicians shall rely on their education, training, and experience to determine if the headlights are properly aimed. Note: see supplemental info in the back of this manual. C. Turn signal system and stop lamps. 1. Reject vehicle if any standard factory equipment, turn signal, or its equivalent replacement is not in operating condition or does not function properly. 2. 1. Reject vehicle if any standard factory equipment, turn signal, or its equivalent replacement is not in operating condition or does not function properly. 2. Reject vehicle if the lens is not clear, white, or amber to the front, or clear, red, or amber in the rear. 3. Reject vehicle if any lens is broken unless properly repaired. 4. Reject vehicle if any lamp housing is not securely fastened. 5. Reject vehicle if any signal does not operate properly with each throw of the switch. 6. Reject vehicle if any stop lamp does not operate properly with slight pressure on the brake pedal. 7. Reject vehicle if any stop lamp does not emit a steady or pulsating red light. 8. Reject vehicle if any turn signal or stop lamp is repaired with colored tape. Note: if at the time of inspection the owner of a vehicle provides documentation that a replacement part has been ordered to replace a broken lamp or lens, the technician may issue an inspection sticker if this replacement part is the sole reason for rejection. D. Rear lamps, license plate lamps, and rear lamp combinations. 1. Reject vehicle if any taillight bulb does not produce sufficient light so as to be visible from a distance of 100 feet to the rear. 2. Reject vehicle if all taillights do not produce a red light. 3. Reject vehicle if any taillight is broken, unless properly repaired, missing, or discolored. 4. Reject vehicle if any turn signal or stop lamp is repaired with colored tape. 5. If, at the time of inspection, any taillight or stop lamp lens is broken and not properly repaired, the vehicle owner shall either replace the defective part or place an order through a selling agent. If the part is on order, the owner shall show proof at the request of the inspection technician or any police officer that the part is on order and the full price of the part has been paid before an inspection sticker may be issued. 6. Reject vehicle if any lamp is not securely mounted in the center or to the left of the axis. 7. Reject vehicle if any taillight does not produce a steady light to the rear. 8. Reject vehicle if any lamp housing is not securely fastened. Reject vehicle if the tail and rear plate lights do not operate properly in all switch positions. 10. Reject vehicle if the license plate light bulbs do not produce a sufficient steady white light to illuminate the entire rear license plate so as to be visible from a distance of 50 feet or more to the rear of the vehicle. 11. Reject vehicle if any aftermarket lighting device is installed around or near the license plate and such a device is of a color or function contrary to law. Note: properly repaired means that the repair is made with a clear material or material is the same color of the lens and prevents moisture from entering the inside of the lens, and that maintains the integrity of the unit. Tape is not considered an acceptable repair material. E. Reflectors. 1. Reject vehicle if it is not equipped with at least one adequate reflector securely attached to the rear. The reflectors may be part of the rear lamp. 2. Reject vehicle if the side marker reflectors on vehicles originally so equipped are missing. 3. Reject vehicle if any reflector does not have a red lens. 4. Reject vehicle if any lens is broken and not properly repaired. 5. Reject vehicle if the reflectors are not adequate to reflect the high-beamed headlight of a vehicle approaching from the rear and being driven at night on an unlit highway from a distance of 200 feet. F. Optional auxiliary lighting and under-vehicle lighting. 1. A vehicle may only be equipped with or display an auxiliary light if it conforms to the requirements of this section. 2. Reject vehicle if any auxiliary light is not white or amber on the front of the vehicle. 3. Reject vehicle if any auxiliary light is not amber on the side of the vehicle. 4. Reject vehicle if any auxiliary light is not amber or red to the rear of the vehicle. 5. Reject vehicle if an auxiliary light does not emit a steady beam. An auxiliary light may not blink, oscillate, rotate, or flash. 6. Reject vehicle if any auxiliary light emits a beam that is brighter than, has greater candle power than, or distracts from the visibility of standard lighting equipment. 7. Reject vehicle if any auxiliary light is installed in a manner on the vehicle so that it distracts or impairs the vision of the driver. 8. Reject vehicle if any blue interior auxiliary lighting or dash lighting is visible at a height of 42 inches or more above a surface parallel with a level surface on which the vehicle stands, at a distance of 20 feet from any part of the vehicle. 9. An auxiliary light is under vehicle lighting if it is a lighting device or lamp including, but not limited to, a neon or fluorescent tube installed under the chassis and is designed to illuminate and reflect from the surface beneath the vehicle. 10. A vehicle may be equipped with under-vehicle lighting for the purpose of participating in shows, events, or other exhibitions, but the under-vehicle lighting shall not be used when the vehicle is on a public way. G. Speedometer. Reject vehicle if speedometer fails to operate. 10. Steering alignment and suspension. A. Testing methods. 1. All items listed under the definitions of steering linkage and suspension systems shall be examined and or tested as applicable. 2. When specific technical measurements or tolerances are not listed in the inspection manual, the inspection technician shall refer to and follow the manufacturer's technical guides or service manuals for the vehicle being inspected. 3. Tie rods, idler arms, and pitman arms shall be tested in accordance with the manufacturer's recommended procedures. Note: tie rods shall not be tested by squeezing them with pliers or by other mechanical means. B. Tie rods. 1. Reject vehicle if there is any looseness or play in the tie rod end, unless within the manufacturer's tolerance. 2. Reject vehicle if the tie rod adjusting sleeve is bent, cracked, or stripped. 3. Reject vehicle if the tie rod ends bind or do not rotate normally through the proper range. 4. Reject vehicle if the movement of any steering component is in excess of the manufacturer's specifications. C. Steering lash. 1. Reject vehicle if the power steering fluid is leaking from the rack and pinion. Seepage is not a cause for rejection. 2. Reject vehicle if any binding in the steering linkage is detected. 3. Reject vehicle if the total movement is greater than the manufacturer's specifications. 4. Reject vehicle if electric and or hydraulic power steering pump or assist motor fails to operate correctly. D. Linkage play. Testing for linkage play. 1. While the front end is supported on the lower control arm, hoist the vehicle with the cross member or frame while the front spring is supported by the lower control arm. Hoist the vehicle at the lower control arm. 2. With the front end lifted properly and the wheels in the straight ahead position, grasp the front and rear of the front tire and attempt to turn the assembly right and left. Record the movement of the extreme front or rear of the tire. Note: do not jerk the wheel. Please follow manufacturer's recommendations for testing. 3. On power steering equipped vehicles, the engine must be running while checking for steering linkage play. Eliminate all wheel bearing movement by applying the service brake either with assistance from another person or by a mechanical brake holder. 4. Reject vehicle if the measurement or movement is in excess of the manufacturer's specifications. E. Kingpins. 1. Testing. With the front end lifted from the axle, measure the movements at the top or bottom of the tire at the outer circumference. Eliminate all wheel-bearing movement by applying the service brake, either with assistance from another person or with a mechanical brake holder. 2. Reject vehicle if the measured movement at the top or bottom of the tire is greater than the manufacturer's specifications. F. Ball joints. Inspection of ball joints shall be performed in accordance with the manufacturer's recommended procedures. Testing. 1. Reject vehicle if the movement of the load-carrying and or non-load-carrying ball joints exceed the manufacturer's specifications. 2. Reject vehicle if the fitting boss is flush or inside the cover surface. 3. Reject if the ball joint is severely rusted. G. Springs, torsion bar, shocks, bushings, and axles. 1. Reject vehicle if the leaf springs have loose, welded, or broken leaves. 2. Reject vehicle if coil springs or spring perches are broken or not securely mounted. 3. Reject vehicle if coil springs are welded. 4. Reject vehicle if there are loose, missing, broken, severely rusted or worn coils, springs, spring shackles, spring perches, hangers, U-bolts, or spring clips. 5. Reject vehicle if the stabilizer bar, caster struts, or trailing arms are loose, bent, broken, or severely rusted. 6. Reject vehicle if the control arms, radius arms, equalizer beam assemblies, torque rods, struts, track bar, or steering arm are loose, broken, or bent, or rusted to the degree that failure of the component is imminent. 7. Reject vehicle if any bushings are missing, badly deteriorated, badly extruded, or has looseness beyond manufacturer's specification in the suspension joints. 8. Reject vehicle if the shock absorbers or struts leak or have loose or broken mountings, or worn, missing, or defective bushings. Shock absorbers in satisfactory condition should not have more than 2 cycles of free rocking motion. Note: seepage is not a cause for rejection. 9. Reject vehicle if the suspension mounting brackets on the vehicle frame are crooked or broken. 10. Reject vehicle if the torsion bars are broken or improperly adjusted on vehicles so equipped. 11. Reject vehicle if the rear axle is bent or not in proper alignment with the longitudinal axis as determined by visual inspection. 12. Reject vehicle if any part of the steering linkage or components have been modified so as to affect the proper steering of the vehicle. 13. Reject vehicle if the driveshaft universal joints, consistent velocity joints, or center bearings show excessive wear or play. 14. Reject vehicle if the front of the vehicle has been altered or modified to raise or lower the front end by use of blocks, universal spring shackle extensions, or the improper use of air shocks, spacers, or other similar means. 15. If an axle was originally manufactured with the leaf springs mounted beneath the axles, reject the vehicles if the springs are mounted above the axles. 16. Reject vehicle if equipped with a suspension system that allows for manually raising or lowering the vehicle during operation on a public way, unless the vehicle was originally equipped by the manufacturer with such suspension. H. Steering column. 1. Examine the energy-absorbing steering column carefully to determine if there is any evidence of a front-end collision, or if a force has been exerted on the steering wheel, steering column, or its components. 2. Reject vehicle if there is any damage to the steering column or components. 3. Reject vehicle if there is a separation of the mounting capsule from the bracket. 4. Reject vehicle if there are bulges or bends in the mesh section of the column. 5. Reject vehicle if the latching mechanism on a tilt steering wheel fails to lock or if there is any play in the tilt mechanism. I. Wheel bearings. 1. Reject vehicle if the bearings play exceeds the manufacturer's specifications. 2. Reject vehicle if binding, roughness, or noise is evident during bearing rotation. 3. Reject vehicle if the bearing adjustment locking device is missing, not engaged, or not functioning. J. Vehicle heights. 1. Frame height limits are based on the manufacturer's gross vehicle weight rating of the vehicle. Heavy-duty springs will not be considered to increase the gross vehicle weight rating over the manufacturer's original rating. 2. Frame end measurement must be taken when the vehicle is parked on a level surface with the vehicle unloaded. All tires must be inflated to the manufacturer's recommended tire pressure. 3. Measurements must be taken from a level surface to the bottom edge of the original manufacturer's frame rail. The frame rail must be measured at the end where the bumper brackets attach. Any frame component or subframes added to the vehicle after original manufacturer shall be disregarded for purposes of frame height measurements. A. Reject vehicle if the frame height exceeds the specifications established in this section. 4. Maximum frame end heights are established by Maine statute and can be found in Title 29-A, Section 1920, and the supplemental info in the back of this manual. 5. Reject vehicle if the maximum frame end height is less than 10 inches or less than the frame end height if the vehicle was originally manufactured lower than 10 inches. 6. Suspension lifts are permitted if they are manufactured by an aftermarket manufacturer, are designed to the make and model of vehicle on which they are installed, and if the kit is installed according to the manufacturer's recommendations, the entire kit must be used. 7. Lowering kits are permitted if they are manufactured by an aftermarket manufacturer, are designed for the make and model of the vehicle on which they are installed, and if the kit is installed according to the manufacturer's recommendations, the entire kit must be used. 8. Body lifts are permitted on any vehicle that is not equipped with an anti-lock braking system, provided that they are manufactured by an aftermarket manufacturer and are designed for the make and model of vehicle on which they are installed, and the kit is installed according to the manufacturer's recommendations. Body lifts may not use more than 3-inch spacers. K. Tires and wheels. 1. Tires. A. Tire tread depth shall be measured with a tread depth gauge calibrated in 1/32 of an inch. Readings shall be taken in accordance with Maine law. B. Reject vehicle if any tire is worn to the point where less than 2/32 tread design remains at all points where readings are obtained, or where any part of the ply or cord is exposed. C. Reject vehicle if any tire has any bump, bulge, or knot, or a shifted or broken belt. Do not reject if a tire has a slight bulge in the sidewall. That is the result of the manufacturing process. D. Reject vehicle if any tire has tread cuts or snags in excess of 1 inch in any direction, or a cut deep enough to expose the tire cords. E. Reject vehicle if any tire sidewall has been repaired or is damaged to the extent that the body cords are damaged. F. Reject vehicle if on the same axle there is a mismatch in normal size, construction, or profile between tires. G. Reject vehicle if it is equipped with studded tires in violation of law. H. Reject vehicle if it is a front-wheel drive with studded tires only on the front. I. Reject vehicle if any tire is marked off-highway use or for racing only. J. Reject vehicle if the tire is weather-cracked to the degree that failure is imminent. K. Reject vehicle if any tire contacts any portion of the body, the steering components, or frame during normal vehicle operation. L. Reject vehicle if radial and bias ply tires are mixed on a vehicle. M. Reject vehicle if the load rating of any tire does not meet or exceed the tire load rating specifications or recommendations of the vehicle manufacturer. N. Reject vehicle if the fenders do not cover the tire tread. Note: inspecting technicians must use their education, training, and experience to determine if a tire is weather-cracked to the degree that failure is imminent. The age of the tire, along with the degree of weather cracking, should be considered. Age of a tire can be determined by the DOT date code on the sidewall of the tire. 2. Wheels. A. Reject vehicle if any wheel is loose or if there are missing or defective bolts, nuts, or lugs. B. Reject vehicle if any wheel is bent, loose, cracked, damaged, or has defective rim or wheel flanges. C. Reject vehicle if any parts are designed or installed so that nuts are not fully engaged. Custom vehicles and street rods. 1. General. A. All parts of all vehicles must comply with all laws and rules pertaining to motor vehicle inspections, other than exemptions noted in this section. B. Inspection technicians must examine custom vehicles and street rods for quality of workmanship integrity of the vehicle components, and the vehicle geometry. If the inspection technician believes, based upon training and experience, that the strength or safety of any component of a street rod or custom vehicle is insufficient, they must not issue an inspection sticker. 2. Regulations and exemptions for custom vehicles. A. Glazing. 1. The windshield must be of approved safety glass. 2. The glazing must allow the operator a clear and undistorted view directly ahead and to the right and left of the axis of the vehicle. The vertical height of the windshield must be at least 7 inches. 3. If the body of the custom vehicle was originally constructed without rear windows, then rear windows are not required. 4. A custom vehicle may be modified to remove the rear window. If the rear window is removed, there must be a sufficient number of mirrors to afford a clear view to the sides and rear of the vehicle. The vehicle shall not be inspected if the rear window is removed and not replaced with material to block the rear window opening. 5. Custom vehicles are not required to have sun visors, but if they are present, they must be secure and able to stay in the upright position when not in use. B. Exhaust system. 1. A custom vehicle shall be equipped with an exhaust system that is free of leaks, including headers, exhaust manifolds, head pipes, mufflers, and the tailpiping. 2. Exhaust systems shall discharge exhaust fumes at a location to the rear of the vehicle body or direct the exhaust fumes outward from the side of the vehicle body at a location rearward of any operable side windows. 3. No part of the exhaust system shall pass through any part of the vehicle that is used as a passenger carrying compartment. C. Body and structure. 1. Bumpers. Custom vehicles are exempt from bumper requirements. If a custom vehicle is equipped with a bumper, it must be securely attached and so constructed that it does not pose a safety hazard to occupants, pedestrians, cyclists, or other vehicles. 2. Fenders. Custom vehicles must be equipped with fenders or fender and extensions to provide coverage of exposed tire tread. 3. Floor pan. A floor pan must be in sound condition and completely free of cracks, holes, open seams, or other openings that would allow exhaust fumes to enter the passenger or operator compartments. 4. Gas tank. Gas tanks must be of the type originally manufactured as a motor vehicle gas tank. 5. Rear engine driven vehicles. Rear engine driven vehicles must have a metal or fiberglass shrouds covering exposed exhaust pipes and drive belts. 6. Windshield wipers. Custom vehicles are exempt from sections 178A1-7 of this chapter regarding windshield wipers. However, a custom vehicle must have adequate windshield wipers to effectively clear the windshield, and the wipers must be working properly. 7. Custom vehicles are exempt from the battery location requirement under this section 175A, provided that the battery is properly secured and adequately vented. D. Tires and suspensions. 1. Custom vehicles are exempt from the portions of this chapter regarding tires, except that no tire may contact any portion of the body, the steering components, or the frame during normal vehicle operations. All tires must be DOT approved and must fit entirely within the body or fenders of the vehicle so that no portion of the tire tread is exposed. Tires must meet the requirements in Title 29-A, Section 1917. See the supplement. 2. Custom vehicles are exempt from the portions of this chapter regarding minimum frame end height requirements, but a custom vehicle must meet the following standard regarding vehicle height. 1. The scrub line of the vehicle shall not be lower than 3 inches from a level surface. 2. No portion of a vehicle component may extend below the scrub line. This includes any portion of the suspension system, exhaust system, frame, hoses, or any other part except body trim or molding. 3. For purposes of measurement, the scrub line must be measured with the vehicle on a flat surface, with the full weight resting on the tires. The scrub line may be measured using any 2 tires. 3. Regulations and exemptions for street rods. A. A street rod engine must be front-mounted unless the vehicle was originally manufactured with a rear engine. B. Glazing. 1. The windshield must be of approved safety glass. 2. The glazing must allow the operator a clear and undistorted view directly ahead and to the right and left of the axis of the vehicle. The vertical height of the windshield must be at least 7 inches. 3. If the body of the street rod was originally constructed without rear windows, then rear windows are not required. 4. A street rod may be modified to remove the rear window. If the rear window is removed, there must be a sufficient number of mirrors to allow a clear view to the sides and rear of the vehicle. The vehicle shall not be inspected if the rear window is removed and not replaced with a material to block the rear window opening. 5. Street rods are not required to have sun visors, but if they are present, they must be able to be secure and stay in the upright position when not in use. C. Exhaust system. 1. A street rod shall be equipped with an exhaust system that is free of leaks, including headers, exhaust manifolds, head pipe, mufflers, and tail piping. 2. Exhaust systems shall discharge exhaust fumes at a location to the rear of the vehicle body or direct the exhaust fumes outward from the side of the vehicle body at a location rearward of any operable side windows. 3. No part of the exhaust system shall pass through any part of the vehicle that is used as a passenger carrying compartment. D. Body. 1. Bumpers. Street rods are exempt from the requirement to have bumpers. 2. Fenders. Street rods are exempt from the requirement to have fenders. 3. Floor pan. Street rods must have a floor pan that is solid and completely free of cracks, holes, open seams, or other openings that would allow exhaust fumes to enter the passenger compartment. 4. Gas tank. Gas tanks must be of the type originally manufactured as a motor vehicle gas tank. 5. Rear engine driven vehicles. Rear engine driven vehicles must have a metal or fiberglass shrouds covering exposed exhaust pipes and drive belts. 6. Frame heights. Street rods are exempt from the minimum frame height requirements. 7. Windshield wipers. Street rods are exempt from sections 170, 8A, 1 through 7 of this chapter regarding windshield wipers. However, a street rod must have adequate windshield wipers to effectively clear the windshield, and the wipers must be working properly. 8. Hoods. Street rods are exempt from having hoods. 9. Street rods are exempt from the battery location requirement under section 175A, provided that the battery is securely attached and vented. E. Tires. Street rods are exempt from the portions of this chapter regarding tires, except that no tire may contact any portion of the body and steering components or the frame during normal vehicle operations. All tires must be DOT approved. Tires must meet the requirements in Title 29A, Section 1917. See the supplement. That's it for this section. I know it was a long one. Thank you for listening. There will be cards now shown on the screen to take you to the next video in the sequence as we look through the Maine Motor Vehicle Inspection Manual, or a separate card for the entire playlist for the current edition of the inspection manual in video format. Thank you for listening.